So, thank you for all who are attending, whether you're watching live or watching the recording later. Matt Clark and I decided to come up with, a good topic, and we wanted to go over a series of teams, right? So whether you're looking at joining a team, leaving a team, forming a team, there's kind of the three different kind of stages that we thought about. And so this week, we're going to talk about leaving a team is going to be kind of the main focus of it. We have Alexis Kemp with us with Remax, and she's going to talk about this. But one of the things I'm really excited about is to talk through her entire journey, because she's gone through all three of those stages. She joined a team, she left a team, she's formed a team. So it'll be really good to kind of talk about some of these different pieces as we kind of go through this series. So first, I'm going to have Matt Clark introduce himself for those that do not know Matt.
Sure. My name is Matt Clark. I'm a realtor right here in the Cedar Rapids market. I've been a full-time realtor now for 8 years. Started off at a smaller independent, moved to a cloud-based model after a couple of years, moved to a different cloud-based model within the last year. Worked predominantly as a solo agent, but I will contribute to this team discussion as well, as I formed a team probably back in, I think it was April now. So Alexis is going to be the expert here, but I'll probably chime in every so often.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right, Alexis, go ahead and introduce yourself for those that don't know you already.
I am Alexis Kemp. I go to I'm with Remax Concepts. Can't even introduce myself. It's gonna be a long hour. But yeah, I've been a realtor for about 3 years and 3 months. So August 2021. But before I was a realtor, I was an assistant to a realtor whose team I joined. But yeah, I've been loving every second of it. It's got its highs and lows, like we were just talking about. The next webinar might be the cons of being a realtor, but yeah, no, it's been great. And I've been with Remax Concepts since I've started, so
from the beginning. Yep,
from the beginning.
So real quick, introduce myself. My name is JJ Johannes. Been involved in real estate since 2003. From being independent or being on my own as a solo agent to running an independent brokerage up to 20 agents. Matt was on there, and it's kind of like a team. So Matt at times was about to leave our brokerage and leave our team a couple times.
I tried.
So he can talk about that. He tried. I just kept roping him in. And then moved to cloud-based brokerage in November 2019. Moved recently this year to a different cloud-based brokerage and been running as a solo agent really for about the last 4 or 5 years. Again, kind of a reiteration of my real estate career. So real quick for the attendees before we get into some of the questions. So I'll mention this through a couple times throughout, but we can't obviously hear you. We can't see you either. So don't worry about that. But if you have a question, because we'd love to have some interaction and questions that you have, on the bottom of the Zoom, you're going to see a Q&A button. You can click that, and then you can type in your question. Now, when you're typing that in, there is a checkbox to say anonymous or ask anonymously, I think is what it says. If you click that and you send the question through, it won't show your name as far as who is asking the question. If you don't check that, it'll show your name, and it'll show it just to us. It's totally up to you. Just wanted to let you guys know that. But please ask questions as we go through this, because that will, help us guide the conversation. Maybe if someone has a specific question. Again, the reason we do this in this anonymous format partly is so that way people can feel free to ask questions and not feel like they're asking a stupid question. And also other people in here can't see who you are. So like, I don't want to ask this question because Joe or Jill's in here. Nobody can see who's in there. So definitely feel free to ask those questions. So with that, let's get started. So you mentioned, Alexis, that you started as being a real estate assistant, right? And you were a real estate assistant for the team you joined, correct?
Correct, yes.
Yep. And that gave you kind of exposure to kind of the inner workings of being a real estate agent and some of the behind the scenes stuff. So when you got your real estate license, what was the motivation to join that team? Like what were you seeing for the value that you were going to get in exchange for obviously being on a team? You give up, additional money besides your company split. What was the value that you were seeing that made you want to join that team?
Yeah, so as a realtor, we know it's not cheap being a realtor. It's pretty expensive. I mean, you're an independent contractor, commission based only, so you're paying for all your signs, your lock boxes, your MLS, I mean, pretty much everything. So, your brokerage free, all of that fun stuff. And then also, yes, you go through all the classes, you do your 12-hour classes, your online classes, all that stuff, but you really don't. I'm more of a person like I learn when I'm actually doing it and like when I'm actually, going on a listing appointment, going on a working with a buyer. So I just wanted like a mentor as new to the business to be able to follow around, which is probably very annoying for him, but follow him around and, see how it's like in action. And also with the fees wise, I mean, I was 20. Oh, I'm 24 years old. I'm 28 right now. So, no, I'm 27 right now. I don't even know how old I am. So I was 20, yeah, I was 23 or 24 when I started. So, I mean, obviously I'm out of college. I had a job before. I had 6 jobs when I became this assistant. So not only was I this assistant, I had 5 other jobs on top of that. Um, so I wasn't making that much money. So I needed help with the fees and everything like that. And it was worth to me to find a great team to work for and mentor to help me learn the real estate business. Obviously, in addition, is in most teams you get some leads here and there. They might not be great leads. There might be leads that don't buy for 2 to 3 years and you have to nurture them. But learning all of that, and really finding a team that is wanting to meet, consistently. I mean, I met with him every single day. And he always was teaching me stuff. So, kind of the whole having a great mentor, the expense behind it, and then getting some leads or figuring out how to get leads and getting some leads because you just really don't know where to start when you get your real estate license. And I mean, I have a new agent on my team who is just like, where do I start? And so, um, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think when you get in, one of the things that I feel like this is just my personal pet peeve is that I love that we have all these things to become an agent, but I feel like it doesn't set us up to be successful in the business, right? I think the real estate commission, they're leaning on the brokers or people to be on teams to start. And I do feel like more and more as I've been in this industry for 20, almost as long as you've been alive, which is really sad, but 20, 22 years coming up on it. I, on the other hand, turned 50 on Friday. So,
Woo!
I've learned more. I see more and more that I think agents who are newer or brand new, being on the right brokerage or on the right team are going to be huge, steps to success. I used to think, oh, everyone should kind of start on their own because that's how I did it. But I do think that not that not that I'm exceptional, but I am an exception. That's why 83 or 87% of people fail, right? Is sometimes you need to be on a support structure, whether that's a brokerage, whether that's on a team, whatever it is, to help get you going in the right direction. Because just liking to look at houses and knowing how to write a contract legally isn't going to get you business in the world that we live in, correct?
You are correct. Yeah, if I was a new agent, I would do it all over again. I would definitely start with a team. I would never go on my own starting with it. I mean, even if you have a great brokerage and everything like that, um, I think it's just so hard. I mean, you can, like you said, you can watch all the YouTube videos, you can watch, I mean, you can go to like the CRAR stuff. You can go, I mean, there's so much stuff you can do, but until you actually, I mean, even if you don't want to be on team, find a mentor. Find someone that will take you in, which I mean, I don't think you're really going to find that much because I mean, someone that doesn't want a team, they want to do their own thing and whenever they want to do their
Yeah.
own thing. So, um, but yeah, no, I would start with a team all over again. And even if I was like, ooh, maybe I'm interested in real estate, I would start with an assistant job. I really think that assistant job too, being an assistant to a realtor was awesome as well. Cause I'm like, ooh, is this what I want to do? So I was an assistant. I think I started March 2021 as an assistant. And then by June 2021, I was like, okay, I want to get my real estate license. I was like, I like this. This is great. I'm loving all of this. And like, I got to learn the back end, which is really beneficial. And then, yeah, by August 2021, I was a realtor. That's terrible. That took me 2 months to get my real estate license.
Why is that terrible?
Yeah, the test loved me. I'm a terrible test taker.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes the barrier of entry, you can get that done as quick or as slow as you want to get that done. I know when I was getting my real estate license, I think I got mine in 3 months.
Yeah.
I had some due dates in mind that I wanted to hit. But I think what you said is important. Like your biggest thing learning as a solo agent was implementation, right? Like you said, oh, I can absorb YouTube videos, I can absorb brokerage stuff, I can absorb CRAR classes, from my local board. But it sounds like you got the most out of watching someone or someone allowing you to then implement some of those things under their, guidance or umbrella. So I think
Yeah,
probably
everyone
all,
learns different
yeah.
too. I
And
mean, I learn hands-on. I learn in the action, following someone, walking through like with my team lead, him and I would sit down. All right. So like for a listening presentation, like here is, and I did it all and he like sat there next to me and watched me. And my big thing when I joined the team is for sale by owners. He taught me like a great, not even a script, like it was just doing it. Like everyone always asks me, hey, do you have a script for sale by owners? I do not have a script. I wing it. But the success I had for sale by owners for starting as an agent, I mean, I would probably go to 5 appointments a week, and every 5 appointments, I at least got one. It was a big part of but yeah, I mean, I went to a few with him. I probably went with 5 with him and just took notes, kind of watched how he did it. And yeah. And so it was great to have that team lead and be a part of a team like that.
I think the big thing, just to kind of talk a little bit about that for the people on here, that, obviously this team series, my approach, and I think Matt's as well, is in this team series is we're coming to an agnostic. Like I'm not saying it's pro team or anti team. It's just kind of expanding on it and having conversations. But what you bring up is a great point. Both of you guys were talking about like the YouTube and, going into plugging into your brokerage and stuff like that. But what some of that stuff can allow or miss on a higher level is accountability and feedback, right? So are you being held accountable to the things that you need to do to move your business forward, whether it's making calls, whether it's having so many open houses? Like if you don't have someone holding you accountable, and it can be a coach, it can be a mentor, a team lead can definitely help out if you're on a team, then I'm this way. Like I'm just had this conversation with my wife this morning, like, because I had a scheduled appointment that I went to this morning. And it's like, sometimes I'm more accountable to other people than I am to myself. Like I'll be more likely to hold my feet to the fire to make sure I make an appointment with another agent or seller or client. Then sometimes if I'm like, hey, I'm going to do this afternoon, I'm going to do some video, I'm going to do some time blocking for calls or prospecting or whatever it is. And then if I get busy, I'm like, well, I can just push that off. But if I have an appointment with a client, I never push that off, right? So sometimes we're more accountable to somebody else than we are to ourselves. The second part is feedback, right? So
It's funny you say that because like, go ahead. Sorry.
oh no,
Like
you're fine. I was saying the other thing is my internet looks like it's lagging here. I'm gonna try to get it, see if it'll go better. The other thing is feedback that, like going through that listing presentation that you're talking about, like if I just watch a YouTube video, for example, and I just read through it and I'm not realizing my ums and my pauses and my lack of emphasis on certain things, like that's what a mentor, a coach, a team lead, all those things combined can possibly do is help give me feedback on how I can get better, right? And so if we miss those things by not being on a team, again, goes into that, whatever, I think it's 83 or 87. I think it's 87% of agents don't renew their license after the first 3 years. So sorry, go ahead, Alexis, what were you going to say?
No, I have 2 notes on that. One note is I remember I would come home and tell my husband, well, my boyfriend at the time, how much I hated my team lead. I was like, I hate this. I was like, he's making me be at the office from like 8 to 5. I was like, this isn't an 8 to 5 job. That's what I got out of. He's making me do this. He's making me do that. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But he held me accountable, which I think has really like helped with my success, is because I didn't want to do half those things. It was like out of my comfort zone. I didn't want to call someone random up. I didn't want to make an appointment and go meet someone randomly. I didn't want to text someone. Like, I didn't want to be annoying on my social media where my friends be like, oh my gosh, she posts all the time. Like she does this, she does that. But I mean, that's our job. That's what we're supposed to do. Um, so I remember there's days I come home and I just like, I hate this so much. Like he's making me do all this stuff. And then another thing, so I have a real estate coach too. I actually just got a coach in October, and I think a coach and a team lead are completely like different. Like my coach helps me more, like he doesn't help me with, hey, this is how you need to do a listing appointment. This is how you need to do open houses. This is how you do this. He helps kind of more like, I don't know, like right now we're talking about, goals and how I can help my team grow and how I can like financials, like where should I be spending money as where I shouldn't be spending money. So it's different than like this is how you're going to talk to your buyer. This is how you're going to do a purchase contract. This is how you're going to be at showings. Like so I would say that's really different too. Because I know a lot of people are like, well, I'll just get a coach. And I'm like, it's not like that. It's more like you need a team lead and a mentor in person.
Yeah, and depending on the type of coach you get, but yeah, the coach you have is helping you work on your business,
Yeah.
in your business, right?
Yeah.
Going to a listing point and getting better at that is working in your business. Like, what is my listing? Like, what is my approach to prospecting, or what is my goals for teams, or how can we expand? That's working on the business. So there's on and in that you work on your business. Um, so let's switch gears because we've been talking about, joining a team part for a while. Let's switch gears to leaving a team. So, like, what were some of what was that process like? Like, when you started thinking about it, was it like certain benchmarks? What were some of the factors you were looking at? Like, take us back to when you were thinking about, okay, I think I might be good to go on my own. Like,
Yeah.
what was your fears, concerns?
Can I add
things
to
you're
that
thinking
quick
about?
too? Like,
What's that?
I want to add to that real quick too. We're throwing a lot at Alexis right now. So,
No, you're
like
fine.
JJ's question is great, but I want to add a second layer to that. Like, so you've only been licensed 3 years, basically 3 years and 3 months. So you
Yep.
made the decision rather quick, right? To then no longer be on the team. So like
Yeah.
with all the things JJ just asked you, like preface it with how quick that turnaround was, because I do feel
Yeah.
like for you personally, it was kind of a quick turnaround from getting all these benefits being on the team, but then, totally changing gears and then leaving the team and going on your own. So kind of preface it with that in mind.
Yeah. So March 1st, I was an assistant. And then by like September 1st, I was a full-time realtor in 2021. So September 1st, 2021, I was a full-time realtor with this team. And then I left the team April 2022. So I was only with the team, what was that, 6 months, 7 months? So I wasn't with the team that long at all. So I kind of had an Excel spreadsheet, and I still have this Excel spreadsheet that I put my client's name and I put like if they're buyer seller, and then I put where did I get them from? So did I get it from my team lead? Did I get it from like his database? Did I get it from a paid lead that he pays for? Or was it on my own? Did I get it from me getting the lead, like a for sale by owner, my Sphere? I guess that's really honestly my Sphere and for sale by owners were the two big things I really hit hard when I became a realtor. So between September 1st and just end of December, so my first like 4 months of a realtor, 3 months, 4 months, I don't know. I can't count. I can't do math. I think I closed 15 transactions that first part. And out of those 15 transactions, I remember only 2 were from my team lead. So I was like, okay, I'm doing 13 transactions with like I'm able to do more than half without my team lead. Like, why am I staying here and giving him 50% when I could be making that 50% and be able to pay for all my expenses? And then January started and I'm like getting more and more and more and I'm just saving money. I'm like, you know what? My goal was to always go on my own. So I'm saving money away. I'm like, all right, if I want to go on my own, I want to go on my own. And I guess by April 1st, I think I had 12 under contract. And I was like, oh my gosh, out of these 12, and I knew I had like 4 listings coming up. I was like, out of this, like, what am I doing? I was like, I need to go on my own. So honestly, why did I leave a team? I was financially fine and I was able to get leads on my own. I didn't need his help anymore. And I learned, I was with him from March 2021. So I was with him a whole year, learning all of his expertise, getting all these tips, had my notebook, writing everything down, learning from him. There's always stuff to learn. Every deal I learn something new every single day. But yeah, I was financially secured. I was able to get leads on my own. I had the motivation. I was working 24/7. My husband hated me. Like I was literally when I woke up to when I got home, when I got to bed, which I don't recommend doing that. But because I lost a lot of my hobbies. I mean, now I'm like, what do I like to do for fun? Oh, I like to travel. And that's expensive, so don't do that. But yeah, I guess that's kind of the big things. I got what I wanted from a team and I was ready to go off on my own and do my thing. So
Do you attribute a lot of that success to spending that time on the team then?
yeah, I mean, I learned a lot. Like I mean, yeah, I would say my sphere, obviously I can't contribute on that. But I went on like tons of listing appointments. I went on tons of buying stuff. I still do things like I still do a lot do. I mean, I did put my own twist on it, but I still do a lot of things that he taught me step by step on how to do. Um, but yeah, no, I do think that it was definitely worth it.
Do you think you would have been as successful if you'd just started out on your own as a solo agent? I mean, do you feel like you would have been?
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I don't think I would have. Just because I mean, I just think back to September. I mean, I guess I was his assistant for the first 6 months, so I did learn a lot of the back end, but I don't know. I think I could have left January 1st and been fine, but I just was nice because I always had questions and I could go. And he helped me make connections with other realtors too, because he's been in the business 40 years, probably. I don't
40
know.
years? Is that true? We got to audit that. Is that true? 40 years?
Um,
35,
over
40 years.
25. I know who it is, and it's over 25 for
He's
sure.
been in the business for a
100%.
long time.
Longer than I have.
Well, I know
Yeah,
who it
yeah.
is too, but maybe he needs to update a headshot. He doesn't look that old to be in the business 40 years.
He's the same age as my aunt. My aunt turned 60 this year. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's my parents' age. I think he needs a new headshot. Maybe I'll text him later.
Yeah, 35 years maybe. But he like just knew a lot of
Yeah.
people too. So I mean, he took me around like like I was daughter pretty much. I mean, I went to like everything with him. I went to all of his lunches with lenders, all of his lunches with other realtors, all like everything. Like so, and introducing me and making me connections. I mean, I remember Tim Lamb, I mean, I made a great connection with him when I first started and just I figured out what the inspector I use is through him and I met. So it was nice to find all of these connections too with him being in the business and taking me around. For example, like so I have a team and Sophie Gaffney, she just started on my team and she doesn't know anyone. So I'm taking her to all of my lender meetings, all of my real estate stuff, like and having her meet people too. And it's great because you can make connections, ask questions and all that fun stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, and real quick, as we're now at the top of the hour, halfway through, roughly, depending on how long we keep the conversation going. But for those attending, reminder, if you want to ask questions, you did get a shout out from somebody saying, if you feel you, Alexis, I think that was when you were kind of talking about getting started. So yeah,
Oh
if you guys
yeah.
have any questions, definitely feel free to hit the Q&A button. And then if you want to stay anonymous when you put in your question, you can check the anonymous. Love to have some questions. That way we can kind of make sure we're personalizing the webinar towards you and getting those answers for you. So, what you're saying about that you would still go back onto the team, and I can totally see that because now more than as I've seen more agents kind of come in the industry and some fall off and some obviously stay, is that it wasn't the easy button, but it basically was kind of like getting a cliff notes for the book. Like, okay, I want to get to this point, but I don't want to read this 1,000-page novel. Like, I just want kind of the cliff note versions. I want to kind of get there quickly. So you, in a way, you kind of through monetary transaction stuff, you paid for something. You might not have had some of that if you didn't do that, but you paid for something that got you there sooner. Do you feel like that was kind of the case?
Yeah, no, definitely. I like that. I never even thought about it that way. But yeah. Yeah, I'm not a reader. I hate watching YouTube videos. I hate reading. Well, I'm starting to like reading now, actually. My friend gave me a book and I read in like a week last week. So, but I mean, I'm like I said, my personality is not to sit here and watch a YouTube video. It's to go out and learn from someone one-on-one. So, yeah.
Looking back, just thinking about people who might be watching this live or recording, and they're thinking about leaving a team, because you talked about, these numbers, like the numbers you were saying, like 75 to 90% of your business was coming from you, right? You weren't attributing it as a lead from your team. And so that's another component. We talked about the mentorship as being a big component of it, but another big component for people of why they're on a team is to get leads, because somebody is generating leads, whether they're because of their length in the business and or different programs that they may have access to, whether they're paying for those or not to get more leads. What do you think would have been the number that you would have been like, I don't know if I'm going to leave? Like if it was 50-50, if it was, what would be the number of percentage where you're like, I don't know if you could think back, like maybe I wouldn't have left until it got to this point.
Yeah.
Transaction
I
number or
think
percentage wise.
out of like if I was 4 leads and 1 out of 5 was only by me, I think I would have, or 1 out of 4 was just me, I think I would have
Mhm.
stayed.
So it was 50-50, you would have thought you probably would have left.
50-50, I probably would have stayed a little bit longer. I don't know. That's a
Yeah.
good question. I mean, I think maybe like 60-100, because I did negotiate when I was doing really well in like February. I did negotiate. I was like, hey, everyone I'm bringing on, I want a better split on.
Hmm.
And because I was just bringing on so many that weren't, because I mean, if I look back I probably did 24 transactions with him while I was with him, and I think 4 or 5 were by him. So if I think about that, yeah, I don't know. I think it probably would have been like closer to if 60% were given to him, then I probably would have stayed a little bit
Yeah.
longer.
That was good that you
So
were tracking
50-50
it.
is where
I
it
mean,
really gets thinking about it.
Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was good that you were tracking it because like I kind of had a similar experience at JJ's independent brokerage. Like
Yeah.
JJ's independent brokerage, we were solo agents, right? Like I was allowed to market me and me, but like the way we were set up internally, I think JJ would agree, it was kind of a team structure than
Yeah.
it wasn't. And so I was kind of doing the same thing you did. I had a spreadsheet. I was keeping track of, okay, did this come from this source? Did this come from me? Was this my sphere? Was this something that the brokerage or JJ produced? And and actually that 50-50 mark that JJ mentioned, that's the part that I got in my first year where I was like, hmm, that at least got to a point where I was like, okay, maybe I should start thinking about doing this on my own. And then by year 2, as JJ said earlier, I was actually trying to move on because that number had shifted to like 80%. And so,
Yeah.
I think that's a good tip for people who are on a team, is to really, this is a business, right? You got to know your numbers. And part of knowing your numbers is knowing where your business comes from. And if you're not already tracking that as a veteran agent, so to speak, as a new agent on a team, you should definitely be tracking that, whatever means possible, spreadsheets or whatever. Um, and there's different factors too. Like my fee structure at JJ's Independent would be different potentially than your fee structure when you were, on a formal team at Remax. So, maybe I have to have 70% of the business come from me to make it worth leaving, versus on a different structure, maybe you need 80% or maybe you only need 50%. So I think it's really important to understand your numbers, understand where that stuff comes from. and like I said, you had a lot of success in the beginning and you were noticing, you know, where that was coming from. You know, you just got to evaluate those numbers, know your numbers, I guess is what I'm getting at here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think a big thing is to track numbers. I mean, I think everybody should do that anyway, but if you're on a team and your goal, like Alexis's goal, some people's goal is just to stay on a team. That's completely fine. Like if you want that camaraderie and you want to be on a team, I think that's perfectly fine. If your goal is like I want to get on this team and eventually I'd like to go out on my own, you have to kind of know what your numbers are and where is the business coming from. And I do think I in my internal feeling was this way before you said, Alexis, and I knew Matt from our conversations in the past, like that 50-50 becomes that tipping point, right? That's where it's really like, you know, do I want to leave? Do I want to give up half of this and then I get more commissions? You know, that's kind of always the tipping point, it seems like, in multiple conversations. But if you don't track your numbers, you have no idea. And if you want to look back at the end of the year and like, oh, well, where did that closing come from? Like you should have you know, I would use a spreadsheet at a minimum, use your CRM, whatever it is, just so you can go in there and see like where does each deal come from.
Yeah, definitely.
Just definitely track that. So as you're leaving the team, let's talk about pain points. Like what was some of the hard things about leaving the team, whether it was emotionally, whether it was transactionally, whether it was, you know, losing access to things, like what was let's get like real for a second and say what
Yeah.
was like kind of the pain points of that?
Oh, I'm trying to think because then I go off, I leave April, and I had probably my best month in real estate in June. Which I also got married in June. So it was a lot, a lot going on. Um, yeah, you know, pain points. It's nice working with one person. Like it's nice working with someone and being able to shoot ideas off of them. Um, so I mean that was great. That was wonderful. That's what I missed, and that's kind of why I have a team now because I like having other people's ideas and being able to talk with someone about like different things. Um, but other than that, I mean, I don't think there really was a big pain point. I mean, my transaction wise, like I kept going up from there. Um,
Can I lead
I
you down a path quick?
yeah.
Okay. So when you left, obviously that you said soon after you had your best month probably in real estate.
Yeah.
When you had decided to leave or you told your team lead of your intentions, did you have active listings? Did you have pending listings? Did you have so
Yeah.
how was that handled? Was that a pain point being like, hey, I got 8 deals under contract with you, but I gotta go because you got to cut off at some point, right? Because if you
Yeah.
don't, they keep stacking behind it. So what
I
was
remember like it was the week because I got back from one of my bachelorette parties. I got back from Nashville. I remember,
wait,
and I
one of them? How many did you have?
I just had two. I won with my family, one with my friends.
Oh, okay. I was gonna, wow, all right.
Yes, no, but I got back from my family bachelorette party from Nashville, and I remembered I had like 6 buyers at that time that were actively buying. And I don't think I had them under contract yet, but I did have a lot under contract still. And I mean, I did my cuts with him. I just did my cuts with him. There was one that I got under contract though while I was gone, and it was a big one. I mean, it was like a $560,000 house, and I was like, okay, like I want my full cut on that one. So I mean, we negotiated that, and I broke a contract because I signed a contract with him. Because like I said, he was great for like the financial. I couldn't have paid for all the stuff. Like, I mean, he paid for my schooling going through, he paid for all of my startup fees, everything. So I did have to pay him back all of that, which is definitely understandable. But yeah, I mean, they were just handled, I just handled them the way. And I just remember I did have a lot of buyers like the week after, and I got them like all under contract within that month. And I had some listings I knew that were coming, and I didn't want them to hit when I was still on a team with him. So I made sure that I just had them a couple weeks
Would you
after.
say that, or would you recommend, maybe it's a better way to say it,
Yeah.
like when you've decided to leave the team, and this even applies to leaving a brokerage, to be honest, it's kind of the
Oh,
same.
1000%.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of the same conversation. Would you say that it's best to just do it right then and there once you've decided? And is that probably easiest?
Or to time
Probably.
it. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
you gotta
Yeah, or the
time
timing,
it.
because
They try to find that perfect timing. Well, this one buyer, and then I'll do
yeah,
it, but then another listing or
Yeah.
buyer.
and there's
So I think,
never a perfect time ever.
Yeah.
There's never, yeah. I think I try to time it a little bit, and my timing just happened to be pretty good. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I know I got home on like that Sunday from that bachelor party, and I was like, all right, tomorrow I'm going in, I'm doing it. And I just did it. And it
Yeah.
was terrible. It sucks. Like I said, he did like I give him full credit for helping me to be successful as I am. And I mean, it was awesome. But there's no hard feelings or anything like that. There's another way, you just gotta be professional about it too.
Yep. Yeah. It's
Well,
a
I think
business.
as a team lead, and you can probably speak to this as well, like you're almost kind of proud, right? Like he probably
Mhm.
felt like he had done well and done well by you. Not that
Yeah.
he could take full credit for it. Obviously, your own internal drive and your own motor gets you where you're going, but
Yeah.
I'm sure it was a satisfying feeling for him too, saying, "Hey, look, like I helped her out, and now she's rolling on her own."
Exactly.
Yep.
We do have a
Um,
couple of questions, JG. You want to hit a couple of those up quick?
yeah. So I've got a couple questions. The first one, there's not gonna be a real answer for this. What is the team split structure in average? I don't think there is a team structure or team split structure on average. So, because this came up on last week's as well, and what I would say to that is that I, in general, believe the split is based on the value, right? So, if that's what I think it should be, at least I don't know what people do, but like
It's
if
not always. That's
I
why you leave a team, right?
yeah, because you don't have enough value,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So if you're on a team and you're going to be getting access to a lot of leads and or they're covering different costs, like go to Alexis, she was getting leads, he was paying for her startup cost, which is thousands of dollars to get into that. That split is going to be much more aggressive, meaning the team lead's going to take more of it than if it's somebody, hey, I just want you to kind of help coach and mentor me, and I don't want any leads, and I don't want you to cover any of my costs. Like those two splits should not be the same, right? They should be
Mhm.
different amounts. And so I think part of the splits with teams should be indicative of the value that the person is receiving. And so I know of teams that, the split is, 10%. I know of teams that the split is 60% goes to the team lead and everywhere in between. And I think it's all indicative of the value that they're getting from their team lead. And that's, I think when people think about should I leave a team or not, kind of to go into this particular webinar is do I get enough value for what I give up? And if as an agent or a team lead that there's an imbalance there, that's usually when, the team lead is going to either increase the split or want to because they're not getting enough out of it for the value that they feel like they're providing, and vice versa. If the agent feels like, man, I'm getting like Alexis, I'm getting 90% of my deals and I'm giving up, you mentioned a number, I won't say it again, but a huge split of your commission, it's like, okay, on all these other deals, I'm giving up all that, but what value am I really getting, right? So that's the first question. I don't know if anybody wants to jump in on that one as well.
Yeah, I mean it's totally different. Like I have two people on my team and their splits are very different. So one has been an agent for as long as I've been an agent, and the other one is a brand new agent. So
Yeah. It's and this gets into like forming a team thing as well, which kind of switch gears into that a little bit because of the next question even. But now as a team lead, you value your time, right? So we all have, last time I checked, we all have the exact same 24 hours in a day, right? We have the exact 1440 minutes in a day. So how much do you value your time? So if you're giving up your time as a team lead, like how much should you expect and value back for yourself even as a team lead, right? So going into the team lead part of it, one of the questions was what are the pain points that you had or how are experiences as far as starting a team? Like what was the pain points starting a team for you? Because you went from having a team and you're like, oh, this isn't putting words in your mouth, but from my perspective, okay, there's not enough value for me to be on this team and give up this much money. So I'm going to leave it. Now I'm going to form a team
Mhm.
So it's like, how do you provide the same value, right? You're kind of on your role reversing there. How did you think about that, or what was those pain points?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think I just started a team more. It was hard because I'm a very independent person. Like I like to do things on like my schedule, my time, and not have to babysit or oh, I need to meet my team at 9 o'clock today. Like if I didn't want to meet them at 9 o'clock today, I would want to go, stuff comes up. But I mean, yeah, the pain points is just I have to be there. I have to answer their questions. I have to I don't know, there's a lot of pain points.
It's tough, right? Because when you're used to
Yeah,
being solo, people now lean on you, right? And when you're so
yeah,
used to doing your thing, your way, your time, like you just mentioned,
yeah.
like now, you said babysit. I mean, I wouldn't recommend babysitting, but
I don't babysit, but like
no,
I
but
mean,
they
I
lean
I
on you.
have to
They
keep them
need you.
accountable. There's the
Oh,
thing. Like I try to keep them accountable. I'm like, hey, like this morning, I remember I just got done at the gym at 7 a.m. this morning. I was like, okay, this just came to my mind. I need to text Sophie and say, did you follow up with that person? And like, just keeping her accountable and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Because you want it almost more than they want it sometimes, just as a team lead, because you want them to be successful. Um, so
Yeah, I think sometimes it's hard in life. It's hard with I have kids. I that someone else's desire or drive isn't the same as ours in a
mhm,
particular area. You know, um, so like my son Trey, who graduated with Sophie, he's been helping me on the assistant side of things. His drive for real estate isn't the same drive as me, and sometimes I have to make sure I check my kind of thought process on that. And he has drives and other things that I don't have the same drive, right? And that's the same in it's just in general in life, but even on real estate, it's sometimes hard. Um, I know this as having an independent brokerage before. It's like Matt had a drive that was very similar to mine
mhm.
in real estate. We had, the 20 other agents. There's only a handful, but there was a lot of agents that I'm like you're not getting business. You're telling me why you want to get business and how much you'd love to have business, and I give you a name and a number to go talk to the person, and you don't call them. Like that just everybody's drive and moving things forward like that isn't the same. And sometimes that can be kind of a pain point on a team perspective. And you have to find like what they're comfortable with as well, right?
Mhm. No,
So, but yeah, that's the definitely the pain point there. Um,
so I got another one for Alexis here. This is a good one for you.
oh
fire
no.
away.
I know I love the worry in her face when I start to ask a question. That's probably my favorite part about this whole thing.
I'll never forget the panel I was on with JJ at Cedar
Krar,
Rapids at the Cry Breakfast. And it was JJ, me, and Channing.
Channing.
Oh my gosh. They answered all the questions. I don't even know why I was on the panel. I couldn't even
I
answer
remember that.
one.
I remember that. I was in the room that day. That was pretty
Oh
fun.
yeah, it was terrible. That
Well,
was
you
so
kind of
embarrassing.
we got kind of blindsided with what the topics were going to be.
I thought it was like social media and it was more
Yeah,
like
and there was nothing on
technology.
social media.
I'm like, I don't have a CRM. I don't know anything technology. I don't know any videos.
Alexis is still rocking the same spreadsheet she had 3 years ago.
That is dang right.
Channing and I were there to save you that day.
Yeah, thank God.
So when you left the team, and now you have a team, right? You, like JJ
Mhm.
said, you kind of role reversed. Like when you left the team, what did you envision your career being like? Like obviously this probably wasn't in your plans, I would assume, being a team lead now, but like what did you envision your path looking like when you left? And then how did it divert and get to where you're at now, I guess?
Yeah. Um, I'm a person that I don't really have like goals wise, I'm like trying to learn how to set goals and stuff and to actually have a plan. Like I'm more of a person that I just wing it. I just every day is a new day. It's different. Like just get motivated and grind and just do it. So I really didn't have a plan to have a team at all. I guess I got super busy and I was like, I need my life back because I'm working 24/7. My phone does not shut up. I don't have any breaks, but I also want to give my client an A plus, um, experience as well. And there was a point where I'm like, okay, I need help to be able to, give every client that I have the best experience and show homes and all that stuff. So I guess I'm not really answering your question, but like I'm trying to think of like what,
I'm assuming you saw yourself more as a solo agent.
oh, 1000%. Yeah.
Okay. So when you left the team, that was your path, but at some point
Yeah.
you diverted. So when you got super busy and it's important to give everybody an A plus experience, I could not agree more. Did you seek out the team or did the team seek out you? Did someone seek out you because you were successful, or did you seek out other people because you needed help?
To be so funny, I just posted like I'm hiring. I posted a Canva thing and I was like, I'm just gonna see who reaches out and to see who would want to be on my team and to see if it would be a good fit. So I had like 4 to 5 people reach out and I had coffee with a few, and then Sam's who's on my team, we just clicked. He had the same goals, he had the same drive. He is kind of him and I are very different. We're also like, but we're very different as well. And I just thought we would be, with his differences in mine, it was gonna work. Um, so yeah, so I mean, and then I just wanted Sam, and that was it. Because I have had people, hey, reach out to me, hey, do you want to join my team? Join my team. And now I'm open to it. Now that I have two, I'm like, what's three? What's four? What's five? But
Yeah.
also I'm really working hard with my coach on team structure, how I can be the best team lead as possible, because I want to make sure that it's worth for them coming and joining my team, changing brokerages and everything like that. And I want to have my crap together before, because I still don't have my crap together. And
We never
Sam,
do. We try
no,
so
you
hard,
never
but
have
we
your
never
crap
do.
together.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I mean, it's just kind of how I started it.
So you
Yeah,
sought after by just
I
what
did.
it
I
took.
posted it, and yeah, then Sam and I met for like 3 months before he joined my team. We
Oh,
met
that's quite a
two or
while.
three times. Yeah, we met a couple of times. And yeah, we figured out it's gonna work out, and he saw the value in me, and I saw the value in him, and he joined my team, and here
Did
we
you ever
are.
do a deal with him previously?
I did. So that's another
Okay.
thing. I did do a deal with him and I loved how he worked with his deal. I remember how easy it was, how communicative he was. So communication is like my biggest thing. Like, even though might be a bad communicator at JJ, I took forever to text him back a couple weeks ago.
Maybe.
But communications is a huge thing. If you're a good communicator, like, and I just remember how he was great on his timelines. He just was very good. So yeah, that helped out a lot too, because I knew how he worked.
Hmm.
So from when you were, I'm just kind of curious on this now as we're getting close to about an hour. If anybody has any more questions, definitely feel free to throw them in. When you were interviewing, so you met with 4 or 5 agents. I
Mhm.
need to post that I'm hiring thing. I might do that today.
I did that
Um,
once. Nobody hit me up, so maybe I need Alexis to to tweak
yeah,
it a little bit for
hey,
me.
share it out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but a question I have is, so you met with 4 or 5 agents and you hired one.
Mhm.
Obviously don't want names or anything like that, but was there a common characteristic you saw in some of the other people that you felt like wasn't going to be a good fit for your team?
Um, to be honest with you, I didn't want a newer agent at that time.
Hmm.
Just because I'm just starting a team. I'm still new. I mean, I was only an agent for 2.5 years. I mean, I started a team last November, so it's been a year. So I'm still new. I'm still learning stuff, and I don't think I mean, I even tell Sophie, who's new on my team right now, who's a new agent, like, hey, what do you need from me? Like, what can I do more? Because training a new agent, I mean, you guys both know, is hard. It really is, because you try to step back. What did you do to become successful? And I also, I mean, everyone knows I started in 2021. That was a hot market. I did start in a hot market.
Yeah.
And so that, I mean, that I give a lot of my success. I started in a very hot market as well. Now starting in a market like this is going to be way different than when I started.
Can you imagine starting as a solo agent in the last 12 months?
Oh, miserable. I couldn't.
Oh,
It would be miserable. It would be
Yeah.
really like I started in 16, late 16 into 17. And I mean, it wasn't like it was last 3 years, but it was a good market. Wouldn't
Yeah.
you say, JJ? Like
I'd say it's a normal market. It was
it
a
was a
fairly
normal
normal
market.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then to see things shift the way they did over between 2020 to like 2022, 2023, and then, this past year, and I think that's why we did this series, right? Because there's
Mhm.
been a lot of focus on teams and team building and the value proposition that team leaders offer. I think more people are interested in looking in that because people getting into this business in the last 12 months, like it's hard. Like it's hard
Very
for
hard.
seasoned agents. It's especially hard for new agents. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's what kind of spurned us to start talking about some of this stuff too.
And when you're talking about people getting in the business, I'm gonna even throw in there people getting out of the business, right? Like there's definitely people getting out of the business because I see different posts that I wouldn't have thought they were going to get out of the business. And I don't know if it's related to the market or not, but um, the stats don't lie. Like we have sold in our markets here in Cedar Rapids and Iowa City area, it's the least amount of properties sold so far year to date in like a decade.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So
Least
you're a
amount of
numbers guy
properties
too.
sold. What's
I'm not
that?
a numbers person.
Oh,
JJ,
I
you're
love
a numbers.
numbers.
Yeah, you love them.
Yes. I have a whole spreadsheet, 11 data
So
points in
Sam
each
loves
market every
numbers.
week.
Yeah,
What's
see,
that?
Sam loves numbers. He's great with all the number stuff. Like
Yep.
sometimes I'll be like Alexa's like, but I'm like, oh, really? Didn't know that.
Yeah.
But it's true though, because then you can quantify what we're experiencing. Like
Yeah,
we're all experiencing a slower market, but then to hear something like that it's the least amount of homes sold in the last 10 years, it's like, okay, I'm not just making this
crazy.
up. Like it's a real
Yeah,
thing. It is slow. So, when you're having conversations with not just clients, but other agents who might be interested in joining your team, you can say, hey, joining your team's great. I'm willing to provide XYZ, but like there's only so much we can control too. There are certain things like market conditions that are just going to
yeah.
play regardless.
Very true. Do we have any other questions? No, we don't have any other questions that popped up. I was just looking at my thing there. So I guess, yeah, we're almost to the bottom of the hour. Any other questions you have, Matt?
Yep, one more. There it is. There's the face. She's like, oh crap, not another
Oh,
one.
darn it.
Thought
Thought
she
he
was
was
off the
done.
hook and we were done.
No, right, let's hear it.
Okay, so you've gone from assistant to on a team to solo to starting a team.
Mm-hmm.
What is one regret you've had along the way? Just one.
Not having systems in place that I can share with my team.
Wow, you came up that quick.
Because I'm working on that with my coach. I have a 5-hour
say,
meeting
that's-
on Thursday, working on
Probably
systems.
because that's her current pain.
Yeah, that is my
Yeah.
current thing. But yeah, I do not have systems and I need systems. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm more
and-
of a person, I just do it. I just like I can just wing it on the spot. I don't have
Yeah.
like a script. I've never read a script in my life.
Yeah, I feel like our story is very similar because I'm the same way. I don't have a ton of systems in place. I wing it. I don't have scripts. I feel like our stories are very similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, systems, especially when you were busy being a solo agent, like you don't have time for systems.
No.
Like, you're just trying to, appease and help everybody and give everybody a good experience. You like Jay just said earlier, that's the difference between working in and working on. And when you're
Mhm.
busy and you're a solo agent, you don't have the time to work on. You're busy working in. And
Yeah.
so, if there's one good thing with the down market, we could probably all do some more working in as opposed to working on.
Yeah. No, 1000%. Highly recommend people to do that right now.
Yes.
I do too.
Right now's the time. Like
Yeah.
you got like 2 or 3 months to get some systems in place.
Mhm.
Right. Sorry, I got another question that just came in. What is your short advice to someone to start a team? Someone wants to start a team, like what would be your short advice? get systems in place is probably one.
Yeah, I was about to say, make sure you get systems in place and see like how are you going to benefit them? Are you paying for leads that are going to come in? Are you so busy that you're going to have leads for them? Because a lot of agents come to teams for leads. I mean, that's one of the biggest things. Like,
Yep.
I mean, I came for leads and mentorship, but like, how are you, do you have the time to take someone under and to guide them through? Like, you got to think about all of that. I mean, are you someone that's going to travel a lot? Are you someone that is okay with going into the office and being in there 20 to 30 hours a week and sitting with that person and have the patience? That's another thing I learned. I'm really bad with patience. Luckily, Sophie is like a little sister to me. So, but I mean, you learn a lot when you start a team, like, oh wow, I don't have the systems because they don't know anything, especially a new agent. They don't know anything. But then someone that joins your team, they want to do everything like you because they see your success. So you need to make sure you have those systems in place and are able to guide them and help them be successful. Not just like, oh, I just want to start a team because I need the extra help. Like I don't feel like doing Sunday open houses, but my team member will like stuff like that. So
You're not gonna, it's gonna be hard to find agents that match up with that value if that's all it is you want them to take your overflow of
yeah.
work.
Yeah.
That's more of an assistant, other than you can't obviously show houses or do an open house if you're
Yeah.
licensed, but that's almost like a licensed assistant more than anything, right?
No,
So,
exactly.
Matt,
Yeah, I
what would
think
be your answer to that advice?
Yeah, I'd say to piggyback off that, I would say, to consider when starting a team, like you need to know and have your value very refined.
Mm-hmm.
If you go into it saying, well, this is my split and I might do X, Y, or Z, I really think you have to have your value defined and have it really laid out. So you're meeting expectations, because you're not meeting someone's expectations, ill will or not, like it's not going to be a good experience for you as the team lead or the team member as well. So I'd say you definitely need to know what your value is, and then how does that correlate to a team member and the value that you provide. You really have to have that refined.
Yeah, and I would
Agreed.
just
There's such a wide range, right? There's such a Alexa said, like, a lot of people just go to teams for leads and mentorship, and that's true. But there's a wide array of what can be offered as a team. Like, not every team is going to offer the same value. Not every team is going to charge the same split. There's such an array. And we kind of alluded to this last week too. Like, this kind of gets back to, should you join a team? Like, if you're a team lead, you need to have these things refined, because if someone's looking to join a team, they should be shopping. So,
Mhm.
people should be I mentioned this last time. I love brokerage shopping. It's one of my favorite things to do. But you should also be doing that if you're looking at joining a team. Like, you should be shopping for what team matches your needs, and the value proposition is aligned with what you're looking for. And so
Exactly.
that'd be my best advice for someone looking to start a team, is know your proposition and then what that value is.
And I'd piggyback off that, saying know your value. But if all it is leads, you have two examples on your screen. I'm pointing to where they're at on my screen. You have two examples on your screen that eventually their business will surpass your value if your only value is leads, right? So you have to think about that. Like, what's your long-term goal? If your goal is to help elevate an agent to go out on their own, which is completely fine, just know that if you give them leads, if they are a good agent, like these two are, Matt and Alexis, they eventually are going to not need your leads, and they're going to leave your team. And if you're okay with that, that's fine. If it's like, I want a culture where I want people to stay on my team, then leads cannot be the only value, right? So it's just something, both of them already said it, but I'm just pointing out, because I've been on the end side of that, having an independent brokerage that was basically ran as a team. I had to keep courting Matt and Kelsey Clark to stay with us, because the leads were the primary value with us, right? And so eventually that value is going to diminish in your team members' viewpoint if they're a high producing agent or destined to become a high producing agent. So just think about that value, like they said, and think about what happens if my main value can go away. Because if leads are your only value for someone, for some agents, that's eventually going to go away and not be a value to them anymore. And then they're going to leave the team. So, but again, if your goal is to help them do that, which a lot of teams do, if your goal is to help them do that, then great. you can be proud that you helped somebody get to that next level. So, all right, we're already at 11:34, so 1 hour. No more questions I see in the queue. I really appreciate your time, Alexis, for being on with us and kind of discussing this and opening up a little bit on these
Yeah.
things as you went through this.
Thanks for asking me to join.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, appreciate everyone watching us live or watching the recording. If you guys have any questions, Alexis, what would be the best way for someone to get a hold of you if they wanted to reach out to you?
Text me or message me on social media.
Okay. All right. All right. Hope you guys have a great day, and we will talk to you guys soon. All right. See ya.